Hey guys, Fru here. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Notebook LM. It's been a while. We've made tutorials, we've made demos about it. This used to be, honestly, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was number 12 on that scale. That was about 8 months ago. Then all of a sudden, it fell way off. It fell down to number 6. So now I'm going to come back into this walkthrough to take a quick look. It's been a while. I haven't looked at Notebook LM for over 8 months now to see where things are, give you some updates, give some of my commentary. And I think it's been a very, very interesting tool from Google. And I'm surprised they haven't shut down this project yet. That tells you folks are using it. So Notebook LM is what we're going to talk about today. I have created close to thousands, but at least hundreds of notebooks within Notebook LM. And I think that I have a very, very good appreciation of what this tool is capable of. Now, you can come in. I think now there are featured notebooks. You can see all the featured notebooks here. How scientists learn, pick one. Folks who have done research will put all your research in here. Again, this tutorial is not about how to use Notebook LM. I'm assuming you know how to use it. If you don't, just take a pause, look on the channel. I'm sure there are tutorials I've done around this. Now, let's go back. Here, you can see the different sources, add the sources. In this case, because it's a publicly shared notebook within Notebook LM, I cannot make changes. But what is cool is once you have this, you can essentially pick the different areas to focus on learning, or you can ask questions, right? What are the most accurate and reliable methods for identifying genome variants, including SV? I don't know this topic that well, but now Notebook LM, if I was learning, if I was a student, an educator, Notebook LM would answer those and give me some cool answers as well as references. That's why this is so cool. And you can keep going on and on. If you want to have a flashcard, if you want to do the quiz, if you want to just see a mind map too as well. I think there is a mind map on this topic and you can really explore it that way. Just imagine how we can now learn with information in this day and age with all these tools that are available. This is a publicly available notebook from Notebook LM. Very, very powerful parenting advice for digital age. Let's actually take a look at that. Let's see, is there a mind map for this? Is there, let's see, a FAQ? I want to see the flashcard. Oops, let's go back. I want to go on this. Is there a flashcard? There isn't one. There is a mind map, FAQ, and then there is a summary. You can play that and listen.
You know, that constant hum, the questions, the worries, maybe sometimes, yeah, even outright panic about parenting in this super digital world.
Oh, yeah. I think we all feel that.
It feels like every day there's a new headline, right? Another worry about kids.
Yeah, so these two conversations. So very, very similar to what has been before. So this is Notebook LM. Not a lot has changed. To me, the biggest drawback I always had with Notebook LM was it's really end user focused, but I tend to work from a developer mindset. I tend to integrate this into workflows that can be automated using Python, using code, using applications. So how could I, from within a Python app called Notebook LM, pass it parameters, generate a notebook and listen to it? And without an API, you really cannot do that. And that was a big drawback to me. And it seems like that hasn't been fixed yet. So it still will remain a drawback. And that's why I just made a video about 11 Labs, and I will continue to use 11 Labs until and if Notebook LM has the API. But API aside, it's a very, very capable tool for just learning, synthesizing notes, generating the audio overviews and listening to those. I think is very powerful. But you know what? I need an API. If we get that API, then I have some really cool use cases I want to use if we get an API for this. But until that, it's just hard for me to come in and create. Like I said, I've created hundreds, if not thousands of notebooks to keep doing that manually when my workflow is all automated with AI. Let's create a notebook here about, let's discover, what do we want to discover? New York. It's going to give us some sources. I'll take all the sources it gives. And again, this has been the standard way of creating notebooks with Notebook LMs. If you have sources in your Google Drive, you can reference those. Pretty standard. And once you have that, you can come in, create the audio overview. What I want to see is this video overview. This will be interesting. I think this is new too. You can generate reports. Let me go ahead and fire off the video overview because that tends to take a while. I'll do audio overview too. That tends to take a while. I'll do the reports. What kind of report do we want? Let's do a blog post. That takes a while. And let's do some flashcards about New York. You guys will see if I know New York that well. Let's do a quiz and let's do a mind map. Let's do it all. I think they all run in parallel, so I don't think I will run out of resources. Now, while this is working, one thing I want to call out is the sharing. So if you really, really love your notebook LM, you can go ahead and share this with people. You can make this public if you wanted to, and that will be it. Again, I'm not gonna share this one. You can add additional notes if you need, but it will take a few seconds, and this will give us a result. Let's see what we have here. What's the goal? I want it conversational, default shorter. Let's keep the shorter for now, just for the sake of the demo. I generated the audio overview. I should have. Let's open up another notebook LM. Let's open up another notebook LM for the sake of it. Try this. I think we can have several running. I want to make sure. So we were doing New York. Let's create a new notebook on Nevada. Let's do Nevada just for the sake of it. We're going to search the web. I am very interested while this is running on this notebook, getting the overviews over there. I am interested, supremely interested, to see the configuration options for the audio overview. Can I change that? Instead of having, there is a lady and a guy talking back and forth, very interactive, very, very, very cool. For the fact that we can do this today literally blows my mind away. I can tell you that. It does blow my mind away. So let's edit that. And we want a deep dive. You can do a brief summary, a critic, or a debate. And you can do it shorter or you can do it default. So very interesting. Oh, different languages are now supported. Let's see. Afrikaans, Catalan, Korean, Chinese, and a few other languages. All right. So let's keep that with English, keep it shorter. And things to try, things to say. What I was also curious with Notebook LM was, could you have just one person talking, or does it still have to be the back and forth? It does seem like it has to be the back and forth with the two voices, and you really cannot change the voice. You really cannot change the tone. You just have the standard voice. So that's something to be. That was a little bit of a drawback to me, and it forced me to actually using 11 Labs more for some of the use cases I had. But yeah, it's interesting. Let's do, what do we want to do here? Let's do, keep it highly educative. So you can have some customizations in here. And now I will generate that prompt. Are we done here? Mind map is done. Oh, it's still generating them. Oops. Wow, it does take a while for this to work. All right, let's give this a second and see what we get after a few seconds. So that was successful. Let's take a look. It did generate the audio overview on the Nevada side. Meanwhile, the New York side is still processing it. So I guess we had more sources or more content for this on the New York side. But let's see. Nevada, listen.
Welcome to the debate. Today we're digging into some recent economic data out of Nevada. Specifically, looking at this tension between the state's big push towards, strategic, high-value industries and the really persistent, deep labor market challenges that just seem to remain.
Right. And the core question I think we really need to wrestle with is this.
All right. So
can that kind of aggressive investment?
So it does follow the same format of the two participants going back and forth in their conversation. Very interesting. The video one is still going. I'm hoping at some point that would be done so we can take a look. I'm very, very curious about the video overviews. So let's pause and we'll come back right on the other side. That did take a while to complete, but we finally have some results. Let's take a look. Here is the audio podcast, and this one is interesting because it does have the interactive mode. So we're going to try this in the interactive mode. It's been a while I've tried this. So let's see the interactive mode.
Welcome back to the deep dive. If you look at New York State's economic headlines right now, it's a really fascinating contradiction. Mm-hmm. On one hand, the numbers look amazing, right? Record private sector jobs. We're talking over.
Oh, hey there. How can we help?
I'm just curious, are you guys thinking because the housing boom is happening in New York, is that your perspective, or do you have another take on what's is happening?
That is a great question.
Thanks for chiming in.
You hit on something really central.
We're glad you brought up housing.
Because that is a massive underlying issue.
The numbers you're...
Oh, yeah. Go on.
Yeah. I think housing, obviously, housing, education, security, and safety are some of the top things, because if we don't address that, then everything else becomes a moot point. And that's what I'm curious what you guys think.
You are absolutely right.
You've just articulated the core tension.
If people can't afford to live or feel secure, that record job growth becomes meaningless.
Exactly. Our sources like the NYC Economic Development Corporation confirm that housing affordability is the defining challenge.
That's why we're starting here, because it's not a housing boom, but a shortage price.
All right. There you have it. So you can see from the audio overview, this interactive conversation is interesting. It's definitely interesting. Now, I wish if you have an interactive conversation, if that could be recorded and saved, now you get to export and share that. To me, that would be an interesting use case. I don't see myself just having an interactive conversation like this. But if you're learning, I could see how this could be good if you're just using this as a learning assistant. So the use cases vary. They do vary, but definitely an interesting capability. Last but not least, we'll take a look at the video overview. Let's see what this comes back with. Play this.
You've probably seen the headlines, right? New York City is over. It's stuck in a doom loop, a ghost of what it once was. But if you look a little closer, past the noise, a totally different story is taking shape. One of transformation, of adaptation, of reinvention. So today, let's peel back those narratives and look at what the data is actually telling us about the future of New York. You know, the pandemic didn't just put the city on pause. It was more like hitting a giant reset button. It threw all these trends into overdrive. How we work.
Wow. You see the slides? I didn't create any of those. I definitely did not create any of those.
Where we decide to live, what we even want from our cities. And the question on everyone's mind is what's next? Is this a city in a permanent downward spiral, or are we actually watching the birth of a brand new New York? So this is the core question, isn't it?
Wow, interesting. Doom loop or reinvention? Very, very, very fascinating. Let's see the other slides. Wow, it does even
Historic
give...
dip, demand just came roaring back.
How did it...
So who's making...
How did it get all of these statistics, all of these facts, all of this data on a beautiful, clean design? Oh my. I am impressed. It definitely took a while, but this makes me wonder, like, why do we need content creators anymore? If I just could create this and upload it to YouTube and automate this in an engine, why do we need content creators anymore? That's the question to ask and wonder. I'll just fast forward here. I won't listen to all of it. What kind of...
They don't point to a doom loop. They point to a city that is actively and successfully building a stronger, brighter future.
All right, this blew my mind. And this doesn't have the conversational aspect that goes back and forth like we saw before, but definitely an interesting one. Definitely interesting. I'm glad I came back and checked the Notebook LM here. I am impressed. If you put an API on this, I'm pretty sure you will see a tsunami of this hitting on YouTube, because people would just generate this video with like 10,000 videos, 100 videos, 1,000 videos or more, and put that on YouTube, right? And try to monetize it. So very interesting. Check it out. If this is valuable to you, give it a thumbs up. As always, this is Fru here with Demo Hub. We showcase interesting tools and technologies so you can learn, elevate, and be a part of the future. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next demo.